Okay, guys, you ready? We're going to call this council meeting order. Today is January 18th. Madam Clerk, pledge, please.
Please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. Councilman Asbill.
Present.
Councilman Buddy.
Present.
Councilman Chatelain.
Present.
Councilman Johnston.
Present.
Councilman Ricks.
Present.
Mayor Baudier.
Present.
Police Chief LaPree.
Present.
Fire Chief St. Cyr, absent. Finance Director Todd Turnion.
Present.
City Attorney Scott Stansberry.
Present.
Myself, Clerk Carrie Eustace is present. Mayor's announcements.
Just one brief announcement tonight. We are, and I've been talking about this for some time, we are definitely getting into the process of beefing up our code enforcement department. We're bringing in new software, new technology, making sure that everything is done in a much more efficient manner than we've been able to do it in the past. And as we start to we're bringing in another person. We will start to be monitoring the streets more and more every day. And so if you have any problems, have any issues, please try to get them cleaned up. If you need some help, call City Hall. We'd love to come out and help you if we can help you.
May I ask a question, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Had a gentleman call me there, one of the citizens. He called City Hall this morning and asked who was in charge of code enforcement, and the response from City Hall was, we don't have any code enforcement.
I don't know who would have told him that. Did you know who he talked to?
Yes, I will talk to you about that later.
Okay, got it. That's okay. Our certified building official for the city of Harahan, Louisiana, is Molly McGinnis, and so she is the director of code enforcement, just to make sure that we've clarified that. That's that, Madam Clerk. Minutes?
Okay. Approval of minutes. Reading of the minutes of the council meeting on December 21st, 2023.
Can I have a motion to dispense with the reading of the minutes for December 21st, 2023?
May I make a comment first? I'd like to defer these minutes. I glanced over them, and they're the most complex minutes I think Harahan's ever had. So, but there do seem to be a couple of typos.
Okay.
And like, for instance, we've got 1, 2 to 3 vote that was noted as passed, and we've got Council Asbill voting twice, yay and nay on one, and a
Okay.
couple other things.
Okay.
So
We can
maybe
go- I'll go
get with
over.
you tomorrow. We
I'll
can
second
defer.
referral.
Thank
Okay.
you.
We have a motion by Councilman Buddy. We'll open for public hearing. Anyone who wants to speak on deferral of the minutes? No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. We have a second by Councilman Asbill to defer the reading of the minutes from the council meeting of December 21st, 2023. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays, Madam Clerk.
Okay. No communications, resolutions. Proposed resolution.
Move to defer approval of the minutes as well.
Okay. So we have a motion by Councilman Asbill. We'll now open for public hearing. Anybody want to come speak forth about deferring approval of the minutes? Please come forward. No one coming forward. We'll now close public hearing. We have a second by Councilman Chatelain to defer approval of the minutes. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk.
Okay, no communications, resolutions. Proposed resolution number 2024-1, a resolution appointing Danny McCarron and Molly McInnes to the Jefferson Parish Hazard Mitigation Plan Advisory Committee to represent the city of Harahan, designating the composition of and duties of the committee and providing for related matters.
Okay, we're now open for public hearing. Anyone want to speak on proposed resolution number 2024-1? No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion.
Council, this is a resolution that Ms. McGinnis asked me to sponsor. They have to put together some type of committee for the flood mitigation that reassessment that's going to happen next year on the maps and all that good stuff. It only has to be 2 people. It's not a requirement that it has to be a resident. Mr. McCarron has significant interest in the city, including his parents, his family, and his commercial property, and he is knowledgeable in these aspects of hazard mitigation. So I would propose that we appoint him along with the Ms. McGinnis, who's the regulatory director.
And you did speak to him, he accepts?
Yes, he's accepted. Yep, he accepted it.
And do we have any conflict of interest, being that he's such a large parcel holder for any reason whatsoever?
I mean, I didn't see one, and he didn't see one. I think the only conflict would be is if in the future there would be any type of, he wouldn't be able to get any kind of contracts that came out of this from the city, so I don't think there's any kind of conflict.
Okay.
Councilman, is this is just a requirement of FEMA, is that correct?
It's not a requirement, it's advised, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
and this is not participating with Jefferson Parish, this is a City of Harahan committee of two?
No, it's part of the parish committee, it's part of the larger parish committee.
Okay.
So the municipalities will all put their own little committee to participate in the parish's committee.
Great.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Great.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Councilman Asbill. We have a motion by Councilman Asbill to approve proposed resolution number 2024-1. We have a second by Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk.
Also like to, just real quick, thank Mr. McCarron for offering his service on the committee, and anybody in the city who's serving us on one of our voluntary boards, and we have other appointments available if you're interested in serving the city. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Asbill.
Okay, ordinances for approval. Proposed ordinance number 2023-35. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman
Second.
Chatelain. An ordinance to adopt the new City of Harahan Employee Handbook for non-civil service employees, which will supersede Ordinance 1361 and all subsequent amendments.
Okay, we'll now open for public hearing. Anyone want to speak on proposed ordinance number 2023-35? This is the non-civil service handbook. No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion.
So I was just going to say that if everybody doesn't know that, you know, this book was comprised with Crescent payroll. I don't know if everybody.
sorry, what was
the
that?
book? The booklet was comprised along with Crescent payroll and their specialists in the field.
So who on the city worked with them on this?
HR and
So, HR worked on it with the municipal clerk. When I was asked to sponsor it, I reviewed it, made some changes. I'm sure I didn't, then I get all the changes. I would propose tonight, if there are going to be proposed amendments, we get those in writing, and then we defer it to make sure, because look, this is employment law that we might be messing with here. So if you have proposed amendments, we get those in writing and then review them for the next month to make sure it doesn't change and put us in a bind regarding employment law.
I have,
And there would be, I'm sorry, one more thing, if you don't mind. There would be one revision that is not in here that I have not actually sat down and written yet, but it's regarding the retirement plan that we passed last month. That needs to be included in the manual as a benefit to the employees.
And let me just ask,
Your
so,
motion is to defer.
and Scott, did you review the employee handbook as well, or no? Does legal counsel know? Okay.
Okay, so we have a motion by
So-
Councilman, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, just if, two options to handle this tonight. We can either propose the amendments and get them on the record so that we know what the amendments are going to be, and then defer it, or we can just defer it and work on the amendments.
yeah, I'd like
To
to
present at the
defer it
next
because
meeting.
I have some potential proposed amendments to it, but I didn't write them down.
Okay.
And I wouldn't like to take everybody's time to
I agree.
to flip through this tonight.
I agree.
Okay.
So we move to defer.
So we have a motion by Councilman Asbill to defer proposed ordinance number 2023-35, non-civil service city of employee Harahan handbook. We have a second by Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays.
Proposed ordinance number 2023-36. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman
I'll second it.
Rick, sorry. An ordinance imposing a fee for intrastate prearranged rides through a transportation network company in accordance with LA Revised Statute 48-2191 and sequence.
Okay, anyone want to speak on proposed ordinance number 2023-36? No one coming forward. Public hearing is now closed. Councilman Asbill?
Thank you, Mayor. Council, this is an ordinance, I kind of sat back a while back and was trying to figure out creative ways to better fund the police department, like we've done in the past with the fire department, just different ways of how to do that. So I started looking to the state statutes, and the state statutes, actually back in 2021, 2019, they established a uniform ride-share law across the state that regulates transportation network companies like Uber and Lyft, and some other smaller companies. That law allows local entities like Harahan to impose a local fee and direct that fee for the city's purposes. So that's what this does here. We've made all the notifications as required under the law. I've actually talked to this state DOTD attorney who provided me with the list of companies that had to be notified. We passed the notification in front of the city attorney before we sent it out to make sure it was above board. He said to go with it. We notified all the companies, actually had a conversation with the Lyft, and we are ready to move on the fee. I'm proposing that the fee be dedicated as a TNC public safety fee, and that all of the fee be directed to the Harahan Police Department operations as additional revenue for that department. Happy to have any other discussion. The questions I've had tonight, just from Councilman Chatelain and Councilman Ricks, were how do we monitor this? The law requires them to automatically remit whatever fee that we set to us. And then if there are auditing questions, we can request an audit through the state for the state to audit the company. And technically how this works, from my very limited knowledge, is they set up a perimeter on their app maps, and any ride that starts within that map, they'll add the 1%. It's a 1% of the total gross fare that gets added to the fee.
So that was my question. I didn't know if they picked up here, they get charged. If they delivered here, they get charged.
they
I know
pick up.
sales tax works on point of delivery.
Right.
So this works on where you
This
pick
on-
up.
Yeah, this is on point of origination of the ride. And I have set it, although the current fee maximum is 1%, in Section 1A, I did set the fee to be 1% fee or the maximum allowed under the law, so that if in the future the state were to increase or decrease the fee, our fee would automatically increase or decrease to whatever the maximum would be.
The state law currently is 1%?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
And you're dedicating this, the ordinance dedicates it to the police department?
Yes, sir.
Did you say in addition to their budget? Or it just becomes dedicated funds?
To me, it's an intended to be an addition to their current budget.
Next year, we have a budget. Do we roll this, a projection for this into their police department revenue?
Yes,
Okay, so it's intended to be dedicated funds?
yes.
Great. I want to thank you for
Yeah, me too.
coming up with this. This is great. Thank you.
Me too.
Yeah, and I don't know, I don't have projections on what it's going to be. Lyft said that they would work with us to provide some projections, but if we pass this tonight, the fee would be implemented in March, and we would start seeing revenues from that in April. So, it could be a nothing burger, or it could be a home run. I guess we'll find out in the first few months when we start collecting the fee.
It'll be something.
Yeah, it'd be more than what we're getting now, right, Chief?
Correct.
Yep.
Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Okay, so we have go ahead. So we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to approve 2023-36. We have a second by Councilman Ricks. All in favor?
Yeah.
5 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you, Council.
Proposed ordinance number 2023-38. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Chatelain and seconded by Councilman
I'll second.
Mr. Buddy. An ordinance amending the Harahan Code of Ordinances, Article 10, Section 62-396, wrongful use of public property.
Okay, anyone want to speak on proposed ordinance number 2023-38, please come to the podium. No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion. Councilman Chatelain.
Guys, I put this ordinance in place basically, I see a city of New Orleans cleaning up with people moving in on Elmwood Parkway and stuff, setting up tents and stuff on public property. I just put this in place just to give us a little more beef, just to stop that, eliminate that, and it gives the control into the police department and the code enforcement to stop for people just setting up camping wherever they like in the city of Harahan.
And it just applies to public property?
Public
correct?
property.
No discussion.
All right, so then just take it, sure.
I have a quick question. So, we every day you see now on TV these squatters and homeowners, dealing with these squatters. As a public entity, is there anything that we can address in this ordinance to protect the citizens from squatting as well?
On their private property?
Yes.
Yeah, I would say no.
I think you have to seek a civil remedy. I don't know.
Scott, what do you
We
think?
may have some trespass laws.
Yeah. Yeah, call the police, yeah.
What's that, sir?
Call the police, yeah.
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 Yeah, I would think if they're on your property, you call the police.
Well, I just see it,
Yeah.
constantly on the news where these people are, fighting squatters on their own property, and it's absolutely amazing to me.
It's squatters actually have rights.
Yeah.
Yeah, look, I think it goes down to the gall of the public entity that's willing to enforce their laws. I mean, if you look at places like Portland and Seattle, which have these types of issues,
Yeah,
I think it just comes down to the public body not willing to enforce their laws.
yeah,
And I think that this public body is willing to enforce.
absolutely,
Our laws.
absolutely. I just worry about, some of the
Yeah.
seniors and, if they're away, at the hospital or something like that,
Right.
somebody,
Deal is, I believe, as soon as you see it, you need to make the right officials made aware of it, because if they're there so long, then it becomes a squatter's right. If they're there for a short period of time and you eliminate it prior to it becoming a time issue, I don't know the rules or the guidelines, but if they're there for a week and a half, you got a hard time getting them out of there.
well, and that's my point.
Yeah.
If, we have a lot of seniors. If somebody's in the hospital for an extended stay, 2-3 weeks for any reason, you know what I mean? How do we combat that for them? And if we don't know the answer tonight,
I think that'd
I'd
be a
like
different
to,
ordinance we'd have to look up
I mean,
and put something in place.
there's state law that covers all that type of, and it's more than a few weeks that you have to be there to make a claim to the property. And I'm sure Scott and I can give a law school lecture on acquisitive prescription for the next 5 days if you want to sit here and listen to it, but,
well, if there's a way to protect the seniors in particular, I'd like to try and,
yeah, okay.
come up with an ordinance for that. Because I think that's imperative today. I mean, people just do what they think they can do, so.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I have a, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do they have entire TV shows on it?
Right. I have a different question now that I think about the ordinance. Would we ever consider if there's some type of event providing permits for camping on public property? And it's just a question, and it may be,
What kind of event?
so like if we were to have some type of music festival or something like that, and there was a camp out type event where there was a camping involved in it or anything like
A
that.
Boy Scout.
A Boy Scout wanting to camp at Zarang Park or on the Batcher or something like that, is that,
Well, I mean, how about a
I mean, as long as they got
permittable?
a permit.
How about a permittable?
Yeah.
So I don't think this would apply to the Batcher, because it's,
so I don't know
on the
either. It
levee
does,
itself, the Corps engineer controls it, but it's all private property.
yeah, but it does say public right-of-way, and I think the Batcher might be a right-of-way. I don't know.
Part of it is,
Yeah.
part with the levee on it.
Well, I think if we're going to add something, we should add, that in the event of, a Boy Scout or Girl Scout or whatever it may
permitted use.
be,
Or
permitted
permitted
use.
Yeah, I mean, I think even with this ordinance, if they come in and ask for a permit,
Yeah.
and we allow them to have a cookout at the playgrounds, Orang Park or whatever, I mean, I think we issue a special permit for a special events permit.
Okay.
I mean, I don't even think you need to amend the ordinance. I think
Yeah.
it'd just be they come in and
Line 47 says, except as otherwise provided for in this ordinance. So if we just add a blurb in here that an exception is permitted, as permitted by the city of Harahan. Wait, how would we do it? Except as otherwise provided, shall not. We could probably add a line, number 3, after line 54, saying, notwithstanding anything contained herein, the city may provide permits for exempted events.
Okay, so section B of this ordinance, which isn't on this paper, but it does exist. does say the lawful custodian or his designated representative, so the mayor or a city official, may issue a permit if he determines that the use or occupation of the public property will not reasonably interfere with others' intended use of the public property.
Where is
So
that, Jason?
It's in section B of 62-396, but it's not reflected in this ordinance. So this is an addition to the existing ordinance.
Existing.
Okay, so this is an additional,
Yeah, so
Ordinance.
section B already has the permit
Okay.
thing. Okay.
and we, what's the ordinance number on that one?
60,
and the one
same,
you're referring to?
62-396. It's the same ordinance number, it's just a section before you get to E.
I got you. Section D.
62-396B.
Okay.
Okay. That answers my concern. No other discussion.
Yep.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Chatelain, second by Councilman
Second.
Buddy to approve proposed ordinance number 2023-38. All in favor?
Yeah.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk.
Proposed ordinance number 2023-39. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Chatelain and seconded by Councilman
I'll second.
Buddy, sorry.
Everybody.
An ordinance amending ordinance number 1959, the annual budget of revenues and expenditures for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2023 for the Capital Project Fund of the City of Harahan, Louisiana for radar guns.
Okay, anyone speak on proposed ordinance number 2023-39? Please come to the podium. No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion. Councilman Chatelain.
Mayor, we need to amend this ordinance. I'd like to make a motion to amend it to change the date.
Okay.
Needs to reflect 2024 budget.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Chatelain to amend the ordinance to reflect the
Second.
2024 budget. We have a second by Councilman Buddy. Will open for public hearing. No one coming forth. We'll close public hearing. All in favor on the amendment?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Now we're going to approve the ordinance.
Oh, and needs to be, amend the ordinance number?
Ordinance number 1959 to 1990
Oh.
ordinance number.
2024 budget?
for the 2024 budget.
So the ordinance, so we have another amendment on the floor
Second.
to amend the ordinance number from 1959 to
1990.
1990. We have a second by Councilman Chatelain. We'll open for public hearing. No one coming forth. We'll close public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays on the Second Amendment. And now we have proposed ordinance number 2023-39 as amended twice for approval. We have a motion by Councilman Chatelain,
Discuss-
second
can we
by
have
Buddy.
discussion?
All in favor?
Can we have discussion
Yay.
real quick?
Yep.
Discussion.
Real quick, is this, yeah, we skipped over, it, right? Or did I miss it? If I missed it, we can move on. All right. Is this purchase under contract, state contract? Do you know if these radars are on state contract?
Yes.
Same ones the state police use.
Okay, so if it's on a state contract, we should add that section regarding purchase under state contract?
So this, just the dollar amount, if it's 19.5, it's probably under the threshold.
Okay.
But we should still put it.
We
if
should still put it, yeah.
I would agree. If we are purchasing it under state contract, we should add that.
So I would move to amend to add a new section 3, and renumber section 3 to section 4, renumber section 4 to section 5. Section 3, new section 3 should reflect the language regarding state contracts as previous ordinances.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to add section 3, moving 3, 4, and 5 up one, adding the state contract. We'll now open for a public hearing. Anybody want to speak forth? No one coming forth. We'll close public hearing. All in favor to amend adding the state bid law section of section 3?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Okay, Madam Clerk.
One more quick question, Todd. Is there any kind of revenue line in here that we need? This is not under a special grant that we got to recognize revenue?
No, it wouldn't impact the revenue. But I did have a question just to ask, what's the source of the funding? Is it one of the state grants that I know the mayor and the city have
Are we just taking this out of
obtained,
general
or is it
capital?
just from the
General
general
capital.
capital?
General capital.
Great.
Okay.
And I have a question too for Chief. Chief, with these radar guns, I understand that you need to be certified to use a radar. And is there an additional cost for us to get those? Okay.
Officer that we sent to get trained, to be a trainer.
Okay, perfect.
Good job. Thank you.
Okay, so we have proposed ordinance number 2023-39 as amended by Councilman Chatterling, second by Councilman Buddy. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk.
Proposed ordinance number 2023-40. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Johnston and seconded by Councilman
Second.
Asbill. An ordinance appropriating funds for senior center renovations.
Okay, we have proposed ordinance number 2023-40. We'll now open for public hearing. Come on. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
We just miss you.
Yeah, we're happy you're here.
It's ironic, but that's why we were here tonight, to talk about this.
I'm sure.
Okay. Can y'all hear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. We were told the senior center was to be renovated and the center closed on November the 7th, 2023. However, no work has been started as of today. Also, what repairs are scheduled and when will the work start and be completed? Why has the work not begun? But to talk about the senior center, y'all made us get out, couldn't even have a Christmas party in November because, in December, because we had to be out for November. And yet, so we would had our party at the VFW. Were nice enough to let us use it. There was no reason for y'all to close the center to the seniors because no work has been done so far. And now this comes up tonight. So evidently, nothing has been settled. So that's why we're here to find out some information that y'all have. But more concerning, there has been multiple parties held by the LLC at the senior center. They can have parties, but we can't. The seniors can't use it. We had to go down to the Pink House. We would like to know exactly who controls the senior center. Does the city control it, or does the LLC control the senior center? Since the city allowed the LLC to take over, has the city received any financial reports from the LLC stating how much money was received by them and how much of that money has been used for the upkeep of the building and activities for the seniors? I don't know if y'all receive reports from them. You should. How much of the 2024 city budget has been allocated for the senior center, which will come up for discussion probably tonight, right?
That's what we're working on now.
For the capital improvements,
Right.
correct?
Right. If the seniors cannot use the center, then it's no longer a senior center.
That's right.
So I'm not the only one that feels this way about it.
I need to ask you a
We've been
question.
jacked all around.
You keep saying the LLC. What is the LLC?
That's Spike
Mr. Spike,
Oh,
sit out.
Harahan Senior Center, Inc.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I was just making sure, was it something else? I'm not
That's
aware.
Tim
No.
Walker and Spike, I believe, who...
They can have all the parties they
Or the
want. They've been
board
having
members.
parties over there. They're gonna have another party for Mardi Gras.
I have...
We still gonna be down at the senior center in Jefferson. Half of the people don't go down there.
I have those same questions.
There was no reason to put us out, and no work has been done.
Well, I have those same questions because, you know, I was just informed about this LLC last week, and I was told the same thing about the LLC. So, you know, I don't know how this LLC was formed. I don't know, because I hadn't been in this office that long, but I do have those questions, and I'd like those questions answered myself, because I think it's very important. And as far as funding and the funds that are collected, It should be public record.
I don't know where their money's coming from. And they should tell y'all something. Y'all let them use the place. Barbara has some questions that she wants to ask, too.
Okay.
All I can say is that Lynn had the choice to use the senior center. They chose to go to VFW. Lynn, who runs the senior center, they were allowed to use the senior center.
Well,
They chose to go to VFW.
we weren't told that.
Well, I'm telling you, they were told they could use the senior center, and they chose to go to VFW.
Just for the Christmas poll.
That was her choice.
Because we were starting to renovate.
She could use the senior center. She chose to go to VFW.
Okay, that was only for Christmas.
They were allowed to use the senior center for any parties. They chose to go to VFW. The mayor shut the senior center down for activities. They went to the Pink House. But if they wanted to have a party there, they were allowed. Mayor, am I correct?
You are correct.
They were allowed to have a party there. They're the ones that chose to go to VFW. The mayor didn't stop them from going there.
Well, we were verbally told at a meeting.
Well, I can't help what they were told.
At a
I'm tell-
bingo,
Who verbally told you
Yeah,
that?
Who told you that?
that it was announced at the senior center.
Al Robichaud told you they were shutting the
to
senior center
move out
down.
on November the 7th.
But who told you y'all couldn't use it for any events? Who said that? Did anyone tell y'all couldn't use it for any events? I'm just curious.
No, when they told us we had to go down there.
I mean, I don't mean to sound like this, but you keep saying, they told us. Who is they? Can you give me a name?
Al Robichaud told them in a meeting that they were shutting down the senior center and they were going to Pink House. They did not say, he did not say anything about parties. The mayor allowed y'all to have, Lynn was the one that decided to move to the VFW. The mayor didn't tell her she couldn't have a party there.
I'll address everything, Mr. Paul. Come on, Ms. Butera, I'll address it all, because, I know that y'all got a bunch of questions, and I have answers for it all.
Well, have you ever seen Mr. Kittock's article that's in Baton Rouge, approved? Have you ever seen it and read it? The people who are on the board, they don't have a board anymore. There's no board, no meetings, no reports to the members of the senior center. Nobody knows anything about the money, where it comes, where it goes, because they don't even have a meeting once a month. The first time they started having those meetings after they had that thing drawn up was to get up and read the activities that were going to happen for the month. That was all. And then it wound up, somebody questioned that, so they stopped doing that at all. And I'm the one who always asked to see the bank statement, the checkbook, because he asked me to be on his board, and I said yes, I would, because I was interested. I wanted to know what was going on. He never gave me any information. He would write it on a piece of paper. This is what's in the bank. This is what that we paid for, what we... But he wouldn't give me the paper, the actual bill to let me see it. So there's something wrong somewhere. It should not be like that. If it's a formed whatever, they should have a board.
So you on the board?
I was on the board at the time. There's no more board because he runs the show. And I was told, I don't know if this is true, that somebody, well, Bernie's the one who always did the dirty work, but he went in there and told Lynn that whatever money they made from their own shop after Adelaide's was closed, they had to give that to him because it was his money. I don't know that to be a fact. I know I was told that.
So how long ago were you on the board?
When the place was still open and before the COVID.
Before COVID?
Yeah.
And you were a board member, you asked for records and nothing was turned over to you?
I asked to see the
You
checkbook.
guilty. No, I'm teasing.
No, that's right. I was provided figures, but not the actual paper the bank statement.
So I'm gonna make a phone call to Mr. Kiddock. You say he's the only board member?
As far as I know, he is. No,
think so.
Bernie's on there, and Bernie resigned at one of our meetings before we quit having meetings.
Bernie,
Because
Kiddock.
he took
Tim Walker.
notes.
Tim
Bernie is
Walker?
not Kiddock.
No, Mr. Bernie, Mr. Kiddock, and Mr. Walker.
Yeah.
So you believe are the board, were the last board members?
Those are the board members that are listed on that statement that's in Baton Rouge that nobody's ever seen.
I'm gonna ask, meet with them and ask some questions.
Ask him to see the bank statement.
I'm gonna ask all of that.
Ms. Butera, I do have a question for you, though.
Yes.
Do you have any comments about the $375,000 that we're going to allocate to the senior center for renovations?
Not if they do a good job and open the place up.
So there are
Soon.
renovations that need to be done over there?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. The
All right.
place has never been renovated or improved since it was built.
Well, I'm glad we're getting started on this.
They had the roof was leaking, running down the walls. We had to move everything
I
to
know.
keep it from getting wet.
It's been ignored for so long.
Yes,
Yeah.
totally.
We're trying to fix
All
that.
we got money for was air conditioning, little things.
I think
like
you get new air
$30,000
conditioning now.
Well,
a
you get
year.
new air conditions, you get almost a whole new building.
$30,000
We're
a
looking
year for the senior center to be operated
That's not
on.
enough.
No.
That was it.
That's not enough.
All right, we're
And
gonna ask
then-
some questions and hopefully we'll get some answers. Maybe I'll ask Mr. Kiddock if he can come to the next council meeting and
And
address this.
I'd like to make a general comment. That's a private group. The city has no control over that group.
Well-
What the city has is the ability to incorporate provisions in a use agreement, a cooperative endeavor agreement.
Yeah, because he doesn't have anything
Right.
with the city.
So
Everything is in his name.
just so we're all pointing in the same direction, we don't control, the city doesn't control that organization at all.
no.
We exercise no control unless it's some provision in a use agreement. So whatever we try to do to get it under control or to get information probably has to be done through some sort of lease or cooperative endeavor agreement.
Yeah, some kind of an agreement, because it belongs to the city. It's for the seniors to be there, but the city has to have some control over it. And this citizen from the city can't just walk in and take over, which is exactly what happened. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The renovations, when we went at the Pink House, we noticed, and it was wonderful, and hopefully they can do it over here, and it might seem not anything to you all, but for the older people, you know the bingo thing that they have up there that lights up? Yeah, that's showing, and.
The
they-
sign, the marquee?
Yeah, and old ladies, old people don't have to say, what's that number, what is it? You know, they can just look up right there. Yeah, they can just look up at the wall and see it, you know.
Oh, we're talking about bingo?
Yes.
Okay, bingo. All right, I'm sorry, I missed that. I'm like, wait, I was lost on that one for a second. I'm like, what?
I didn't specify bingo, but it is.
Okay.
And there were so many people playing bingo, but the Pink House, you can count them on two hands.
My son is deaf, and he's the one that kept telling everybody, they need to get that up there. Because he always, when I couldn't go to give him the numbers, he always had to get somebody to write them down for him.
I'm going to do something unconventional here for a second. We're going to close public hearing, but Ms. Magine, I'm going to ask you to come back up one more time, if you don't mind, and ask me the questions again, just because they kind of distracted me a little bit, but your questions were perfect, and you had it perfectly phrased, so I can answer them and give you the answers that you need. And I just want you to come back up here again, because I miss you.
Yeah, because y'all haven't heard from me in a long
I
time.
know, we miss it.
That's because we've been doing a good job, huh?
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't go that far.
Okay, we'll take them one at a time.
Okay, let's see. What did you want to know now?
You ask your questions again for me.
We would like to know who controls the senior center?
Okay, the city of Harahan controls the senior center, but Ms. Barber brings up a good couple of points, and we're going to come back to those.
Right. Since the city allowed the LLC to take over, has the city received any financial reports from the LLC stating how much money was received by them and how much of that money has been used for the upkeep of the building and activities for the senior center.
Okay, so let me answer that one. So under so as of recently, yes. Yes. So what the agreement that Harahan Senior Center, Inc. and I worked out when we moved them around to the store, that 50% of everything they sold had to come back to the city for us to go back. So 50% they get to keep, 50% comes to the city of Harahan in order for us to fund things that the senior center needs.
Yeah,
So
well,
yes,
they
we do
not
have it.
only they not only have parties over there at the senior center, but they go out to eat
What they do, that's not at the senior
at
centers.
different restaurants.
Right, and I'm talking about what's regulated out of Adelaide's.
But
They do. And so, and I have that. And it's not very many reports. This just started before we decided to start working on getting the renovations. And believe it or not, so we have the seniors have a lot of friends, just in State Representative Big John Hill, State Senator Kirk Talbot, also, Councilman District 2 Dino Bonanno, and all of us collaborated and got together, and that's how we've accumulated the almost $400,000 that we're gonna invest into it. 125 is coming from the parish, 125 is coming from the city, and 126 is coming from the state. And so it took a minute just to get all of those things together. There was a pre-construction meeting last week that we're gonna get started on. Air conditioners was gonna be worse. And then I'm gonna come back to one other point you made, and I'm gonna echo what Mr. Paul said. Everything that I have done through here, I have communicated with Mr. Al Robichaux. Every step of the way, every other week, if not every week, him and I talk just to keep him up on what's going to happen. Al is the director of JCOA. That's who I communicate with, and just to try to keep him abreast of what's going on. And an agreement with Mr. Paul, we actually put out there, hey, if you guys, while we're trying to get everything out of the senior center, and that's why it was closed in November, so we can move the stuff out, which still hasn't been done. So now we're gonna have to figure out another way to get some stuff out of there. But that was the goal, to start moving it out so we can start the work. And but we didn't deny anyone the use of the center at all. Not for activities, but for events, because we knew that events were important.
so you didn't want us to use it for the bingos then?
Well, because we were starting to pull stuff out of there. As of November, stuff has started to been being moved out of there. And of course, a lot of things didn't get moved, but I think JCOA got all of their stuff out that was very important. And then once they moved out their stuff that was any computers, anything that was of any importance, the senior center was, it couldn't be used in their capacity anyway.
Well, it's just that he can use the senior center,
So-
but we can't.
So this is what I'm going to clarify to you tonight, and this is what we're going to do, and this is the goal. And because you guys know there's just this constant battle over there between Harahan Senior Center, Inc. and JCOA over who's doing what, who's getting what. I do believe that Adelaide's is a function for seniors. I do believe that they do need to be separate entities. And Councilman Buddy brought up something great tonight, and Ms. Butera, just you guys coming to talk to us, it made me reflect on, okay, this is a clean slate. Let's start now. You're not coming in. If there's not going to be no proper reporting, you won't be here 30 days, I can tell you that. But this gives us an opportunity to clean slate this program. And what we're going to do at the senior center is we're going to, of course, fix it up very nice. But we're going to make the building two separate buildings to where neither can commingle into one another's affairs. Adelaide's will continue to be where it's at. Those doors will be closed. We will add a bathroom in Adelaide's. You will have to exit the senior center to go into Adelaide's, and vice versa, exit Adelaide's to get into the senior center. And that way we can kind of really get the bickering ended of who touched whose stuff.
I don't think the seniors would want that. They satisfied with the way it is right now.
Right, but it's
just
me
that
that's got it.
Nobody from this city has come over there and told the people, told all the members what y'all intended to do, or answer any questions
I've
that
talked to
they
him.
had.
I've talked to him a couple of times, and the plans have kind of changed some.
Right, because y'all were supposed to put air conditioning and go
Right.
through the roof.
That's
They
right.
just put a new roof on the building 6 months ago.
They got to come out.
I live right across
I know,
the
the
street,
ACs
so
have
I
gotta
can
come out.
see that.
It's just, if
And now
not,
after you're gonna put a hole in the roof to put the air conditioner?
We may have to.
Then you gotta pay somebody to put the roof back on?
We may have to.
That's a waste of money.
They might tear the ceiling out inside and bring the air conditioners out from the inside.
and that's
You can
another
fix the
point.
ceiling
So-
inside.
Well, yeah.
So there's a lot of different ways they go
So
about looking
now they're
into
gonna
it.
put it on from the inside, but originally, that's what they had said they were gonna
Storing,
do.
and the reason why is because storing the old equipment is a fire hazard. It's full of old chemicals, it's full of old oil, it's full of, and you don't really want to store that in there. Believe it or not, a lot of people just cut them up and throw them in a corner and leave them up there. And believe it, and you have there's a mess up there, but it's a lot, and I'm sorry that it's taken so long and getting clear direction, but we trying to give it, we trying to make it the best effort, and we don't want to rush into something and do it, halfway.
I think the city should have told the people, come over there yourself and tell the people what you were gonna do.
I thought we did, but
And nobody has done that.
I thought we did. Well, I will do better, Ms. Magine, I promise you. I will work hard to do better.
We're gonna keep after you.
Yes, ma'am.
Y'all don't want me to keep coming back?
Yes, I
I
do.
do wanna
Yes,
see
I
it.
do.
He knows that, because I'm coming over.
Okay, so we have proposed ordinance number 2023-40. I'm sorry.
Wait, we got somebody else. Yeah.
Hi, as y'all know, I'm Rhonda, and I am a social worker. I deal with the JCOA on a daily basis. One of the things the senior center had was a pro bono attorney that would go over there to do power of attorney and living wills. Now that it's closed, is there some place where the city could have somebody do that free of charge?
So JCOA still provides that service through a state contract.
Yeah.
You just have to go to the Pink House where they're currently interimly located. But their state contract with Governor's Office of Elderly Affairs still has that in place where they can provide that service over there.
Okay, but we don't have any place they could do it here in the city.
I don't know of any pro bono legal services within the city.
No, just an office space. Just
Just the
space.
office space.
And they're more than
Oh.
welcome to use City Hall. We'll
Oh,
clear any
sure.
space
If
for
they,
them.
yeah, I mean, if JCOA wants to send their legal contract over here, I'm sure we can
Yep.
find a spot
anytime.
for them.
Yep, we'll clear space for them.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, and by the way, you need a place for the people to get their income taxes done.
They already have.
Oh, they have?
Over there.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the River Ridge Library. They gotta be there Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday
It's gonna come up.
from 9 to 1.
Yes,
So
please.
we can get it on YouTube?
Yes.
Because I know y'all watch YouTube every
It's on TV too,
Oh, and it's on Cox still.
Monday and Tuesday.
Okay.
It starts early February.
And this is tax prep for seniors?
Yes,
JCOA?
no, it's not JCOA, it's one of the senior groups that do it. They sponsor the people, train them, and they come out. But because the senior center's not available, they're moved to the River Ridge Library Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, 9 to 1, no appointments, it's first come, first served. Just like they were doing it at the senior center for a while.
Where is that?
Right there by Hazel Park.
Past
Next to
Winn-Dixie.
Hazel Park
Hazel
School?
Park.
Yeah, right past Winn-Dixie.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you,
Louise.
Ms.
That's
Louise.
enough?
Yes,
ma'am.
thank you.
Appreciate you so much.
We love you, Ms. Louise. She's awesome. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor, proposed ordinance number 2023-40, proposed by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Chatelain. All in favor?
Council discussion, council discussion.
Oh, my God.
Council discussion. So I believe that we included this in the budget that was passed last month. So to me, passing this ordinance would put an additional 125 in the budget.
Hey, I'm in a council.
This is just a formality, because we've already put the money in place.
Right.
The purpose of doing this is because Dino Banana wanted it done. And that's why I did it. That's the only purpose I did it, because the money's already put in place. So we're not moving another 120. It's
the
just to
same-
do it because Dino Banana wanted it done.
Same money, it's just.
It's the same
added
thing.
paperwork.
There's nothing, nothing being done. Add no more 120,000 to the budget. It's
Okay.
just something we did formality. That's all it is.
And I have a couple questions in regard to Ms. Majine's questions and things of that nature. So we have a private entity running the senior center? Is
No,
that-
sir.
No. Okay, so and I just want to clarify this for everybody.
Correct.
And so, and all funds that are accumulated from the sale of goods at Adelaide's and other momentous events at the senior center, those funds are directly reported to you or to
Yeah,
to the city hall?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is anybody auditing those funds?
I mean, we just kind of really started the process before, because it was so much turmoil over there, trying to figure out a clear path. We had just started the process, but we do have stuff on it. And Sandy Lemoyne has actually been helping me on it as well. And Sandy Lemoyne was actually one of the ones that helped us get $125,000 of this money.
Well, and that's fine. I'm not saying anything's wrong. I'm just,
Yeah.
I know the citizens, just listening to these nice ladies talking about this, that, there are concerns generally about people and, this LLC being run by 3 people, no board, no auditing process. So I think that those things, and as we move along, those things definitely need to be in place.
Yes, sir. I love it.
Quick question of clarification. Is it true that the city provides no actual services at the senior center? We contract those services out to JCOA and Harahan Senior Center, Inc.?
That is correct.
They-
other than
we provide the
utilities.
building.
And that utility, I think we do pay some of
We
the
don't put any staff over there
No,
or
sir.
anything like that. But in addition to money that we put into the place, JCOA gets state contract money, I believe, to put staff over there and run events.
That is correct.
And do their meals programs and things like that,
Correct.
right? Okay, thank you.
Correct.
And just technically, I think JCOA gets money out of Jefferson Parish.
No, they do not. Not
they
for
don't?
Harahan.
Not for Harahan.
Not
Well,
for
they
us.
do get money, 240,000, it might be more now, because I've been going 4 years. They get 240,000 a year for the JCOA for all the centers, but they don't get that tax money, that millage, they don't get any of that millage.
Right.
The municipalities where senior centers are getting money from the municipality, there is a millage in that municipality to
Right,
cover
right.
those seniors, like Lafitte, perfect example.
Well, Lafitte gets it because they're part of that package.
Right.
Yeah.
Are we also part of the package?
No.
No, we're not. We could get in if we want. The next time the millage comes up, every 10 years it comes up, if we want to be a part of it, we just tell them, they'll add us to the proposal, and we can get it.
And we
But
certainly need to be
But
a
it's an
part of
extra
that.
property tax that would.
it's an extra $500,000 or something that we
Okay,
have to pay in
can I
Harahan.
can I ask you, do you know when the 10 years is coming?
Well, when I was on the council, I tried to get the millage for the city because River Ridge
Right, I thought they-
is using our center, and they paid a mill in River Ridge, and I felt we should have got this mill because half the membership is from River Ridge, but the parish said at the time they couldn't do it because the parish attorney said on there, we can't do it because the proposal says River Ridge, and Harahan's not in the proposal. So they couldn't, because the center's in Harahan, so they said we couldn't do it legally.
Well, let me just back up and reiterate. So do we know when the 10 years?
I don't know when it comes up. You can definitely find out. The mayor could call Jefferson Parish. What? Right, we wasn't a part of it.
I don't know what year it was, but you were the mayor.
Well, I was the mayor
More than 10 years ago.
from 2003 to 2010. But we wasn't a part of the tax.
One of those years when it took place.
At the time, if I'd have said we wanted to be a $500,000 charge to the citizens, they'd have hung me by the street.
So this is,
But I put a $500,000 on the citizens at the time, they'd hung me by the street.
so this is an
Now it's
interesting
different. People are
situation.
not paying a $500,000.
We provide a senior center, a physical facility, which is worth a lot of money, to this partnership. The parish, well, an organization that is largely funded by the parish gets some state money. And they provide some personnel and organization to run certain events and coordinate certain events for the seniors. Representatives, individuals from outside of Harahan in River Ridge enjoy our senior center in Harahan, our physical senior center. So it's kind of like a three-way proposition, and I don't know that anybody's ever tried to figure out the contributions of each party, a monetary value of the contributions of the parties. But it has been a partnership of sorts that's been in effect for many years. Harahan residents and River Ridge residents use our senior center Their JCOA provides certain services, they provide personnel to provide those services, and the city is putting up a physical facility, maintenance, insurance, and utilities. So, we've got a dog in the hunt. We spend a lot of money on a senior center, but we're not writing a check to the senior center.
Well,
And it's our citizens.
I
Yeah.
have
Yes.
another question in regard to the senior center. So if the LLC is controlling the senior center right now,
Not controlling. They're not.
well, if they're financially running the senior center,
Not either. They run a store out of a part of the senior center.
okay, so do they pay rent to the city for
They
the
don't. What
store?
they have to do is they have to give half their proceeds back to the city. And you and Councilman Bodie and I are going to put together a CEA and an agreement, so when we start this clean slate again, that it is all on the up and up, and that anyone can come see it at any time, and there'll be no more of this. They didn't let me see this, and they didn't let me see that.
It's a tough situation you're dealing here with, because if somebody's not confused over this, they need to help me, because it's very confusing. I mean, we used to have Jazzercise would rent the gym for $25 a month and run Jazzercise out, and they're charging people $35 a month, and they're making all this money. So now you got the Senior Center Inc., or LLC, whatever they calling this. They're over there running a private entity out of the senior center and just giving back what they want to give back. And like the ladies are saying, there's no records of what they're taking in. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Last time I went to the senior center, it looked like a junk collection. I mean, the front room, you couldn't even walk in it. This back room, you couldn't get in because it's locked. And people want to be there to sell stuff, but they don't trust people because they say they're gonna steal the stuff. Mayor, you got a lot over there.
That's
I'm
what
just giving you a
saying.
heads up.
This
You got a lot.
This renovation gives us a fresh start.
Well, what you just said is correct. That's the problem they have over there.
Yeah.
The stuff in the front room you're talking about, that's Lynn, who runs the center. She has that junk in the front room.
I don't know what it is. but it's a
Adelaide's
mess.
Mall is in the back. That is run by the group, and it's immaculate. They have it like a store. They got it on racks. They got it
When I
in.
went there, it was locked up.
That's not,
Well, they need to
well,
lock it.
that's when they had problems, they had to lock it. Not in the front room. Now you go over there, when they were there, they had it immaculate in the front room.
listen, all I'm saying is, the city shouldn't be in the gift business. The city should be in the rent business. If you have a store in a senior center, pay your rent. And that's it.
Clean way to do it.
That's the clean way to do it. Hey, it's $2,000 a month or $10,000 a month, whatever it is you
Well,
said.
$20 a month,
Yeah,
whatever
I
it
mean,
is.
something, because, I mean,
like it. I like
us having to audit all of this
No, we shouldn't
money.
be in that business.
We're not in this, I mean, what's that, that just incurs more stuff. Nobody, look, if you got a piece of property, like anything else, you have to rent it. And that should be the end of it. If you want to run a store there, it's, $500, $1,500, whatever it is you determine, that should be what that money goes to, straight to the senior center. And there should be no, oh, you sold $5 trinkets, or you sold $20 trinkets and we get 10. No. You want to be there, you pay a rent, period. End of story, no
Might be
more.
the way to go.
That is the way to go. 'Cause I'm not in that business.
One day they might make 50 cents, one day they might make $100.
Well,
So
guess
maybe that's the way
what?
to
I'm
go.
sure if they couldn't afford the rent, they'd move out, and somebody else might take over and do a better job.
We have a lot of people that shop over at that place, and they love it all.
Well, and look, I'm not saying, I don't know anything about the shop. I've been there a couple times for dinners and that, but I'm just saying for us as a body, a government body who maintains the building, you pay rent, that's it.
It's the way to
So
go, man.
I do
It's the way to
have,
go.
I do have one more request. It's been brought to my attention that there's people putting on fundraisers for the benefit of Harahan Senior Center, and we don't know where those funds have gone.
Come to the city.
We need to make sure they're coming to the city, because last time I checked, we didn't have any deposits from that one particular fundraiser that I'm
Okay.
talking about.
Okay.
So we just need to make sure that whoever is putting on a fundraiser for the benefit of the Harahan Senior Center, they need to clarify whether it's for Harahan Senior Center, Inc., JCOA, or the building. If it's for the building, it comes up.
And let's put an ordinance in place that if you do have a fundraiser and you're taking the money, you know, that there are criminal implications.
Well,
Right.
I think the thing to do would be to say there's a fee, a rental fee, because we're providing a facility and you're having an event there, so it would be.
But it was
at
like
the
an
very
out,
least,
it was
would
an
be a rental
outside
fee.
event that they were raising money.
For the
for the
Harahan
benefit-
Senior
for the-
Center.
Yes.
Oh, yes, yes.
Did we get that money, Mayor?
Yeah, so they had a jambalaya cook-off down at
Did we get that money?
the
Right,
assisted
but
living.
I'm saying, if you're going to do something for the Harahan seniors,
Right.
and you're taking the cash, you should be implicated in a crime.
I agree, and I think there was something reported.
Okay, so that,
Yeah.
we definitely need to make that a criminal activity, period.
Did we get that money, Mayor?
I don't know, I'm gonna have to find out. Did we ever get the money? Okay, I'll ask you.
Right, it's not. It didn't.
Okay.
He wouldn't have any.
Yes, ma'am. HCOA Inc.?
He has, they had nothing to do with that.
Okay.
Okay.
That was.
All right, are y'all ready to move on this ordinance?
Yes.
We want to know, when is the work going to begin?
You need to come back up and finish your question.
Yeah, no, so that's fine. I'll answer you real quick. So we had the pre-construction meeting, they ordering equipment now. We just dropped another container there to get that rest of JCOA stuff out of there. We're just waiting on equipment to hit the ground.
Mayor, what's the general scope of the work for $376,000?
We're replacing all the ACs, the boiler, we're yanking everything out of there. We're renovating the big room and the foyer, the entryway. We're also gonna put in, we're gonna make it 2 separate buildings instead of 1, putting a bathroom in 1 and having 2 entries into that, dropping all of the ceilings, coming out completely, and redoing all the floors.
And painting it, right?
And they're gonna paint.
I'd like to make a comment, too, about the separate entrance for Adelaide's. If Adelaide's continues as a store that is selling to the seniors, you really have to have a lockable door,
Correct.
I think, between
Correct.
the 2 facilities.
Yes.
'Cause it'd be absolutely silly to have people walking outside in the weather.
If you're, if,
I don't think they need another entrance into the building.
no, but you do need to separate the
They may
building.
need, whoever leases that space or occupies it under some agreement wants to be able to get in there when the building might otherwise be locked up. Otherwise, they have access to the whole building.
Right.
So it makes a lot of sense that that they have a separate entrance.
Right.
Because if the facility's locked up, they can't get to their space.
Correct.
And it needs to be that the 2 groups, if there are 2 groups occupying the building, don't have access to each other's space.
Correct.
Well, I think if you have a tenant agreement, number 1, number 2, that needs to happen if you have a tenant agreement, but also in the, you know, in the justification of kind of dividing this up and putting in place the rents. You know, if somebody has a known factor of 50% to the city, you know, it's really kind of hard for them, you know what I mean? Whether they have a bad month or a good month, even, you know, you turn over 50% of your profitability is not easy for anyone. You already taxed to death, and, you know, now you're going to take
Well,
this.
this is all not taxable, this is all under.
I know, but what I'm saying
Right.
is that as an individual, you're taxed to death federally, but, you know, if we can put together something and have this leasable space, I think it's easier for the tenant, it's easier for the city, it's easier across the
We
board.
1,000,000% agree. You're gonna help me build that. So, I'll let you be the chairman of that committee.
On the ordinance, I agree with Councilman Johnson's, that any future funds received from revenue from the senior center, rentals, donations, it goes directly to a capital fund line item for the senior center. I just want to make sure everybody knows that we're not putting an additional 125.
Right.
This is recognizing in a separate ordinance that we're going to have 125 from the city's budget for a total of 376.
Along those lines, Councilman, I think you point out at least the ambiguity here, that we might be adding another $125,000. So I'd like us to consider maybe amending that line to ratify the $125,000 that was budgeted in the capital fund for senior center improvements on our November whatever budget meeting. So instead of transferring
Whatever satisfies you
125,
guys.
we're ratifying the transfer.
I'm fine with this either
I
way.
just did it to
Yeah,
please Councilman
I understand.
Daniel Banano. He wanted an ordinance the money's already in line item, I just did this just to please him.
Yeah, and
Whatever
I
you
think
guys
we're
wanna
all
do, I
fine
don't
with
care.
it.
That's fine with me.
And I want to tell y'all, I think we're going to have to add more money from capital to this project by the time we finish.
Well,
Just preparing y'all. And we're going to get a bingo wall to say B9.
we did, and I'll close at this. We did ask for an additional $900,000 from the state through capital outlay. So, and it's already in the system. We don't know if we'll get it. but
Submitted, it's submitted.
It's already been submitted. So,
Okay?
I know. Me too.
Me too.
Okay, so we have proposed ordinance number 2023-40, proposed by Councilman Johnson, second by Councilman Chatelain. All in
As-built.
favor?
As-built seconded.
I'm sorry, second by Councilman Asbill. All in favor?
Yeah.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Madam Clerk.
Proposed ordinance number 2023-41. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Asbill and seconded by Councilman
Second.
Chatelain. An ordinance to repeal and replace Chapter 2, Administration, Article 5, Finance, Division 1, generally, Section 2-202, council approval required for certain advertisements, and Division 2, contracts, Section 2-231 in general of the Harahan Municipal Code.
Okay, so we have proposed ordinance number 2023-41, proposed by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Chatelain. Now open for discussion. All right, public discussion is now closed. Council discussion?
Council, this is an ordinance back in, I don't know, 2015, under the previous administration. I understand what the council was trying to do with the previous administration. However, the Attorney General, now Governor Jeff Landry's office, did issue an Attorney General's opinion saying that the laws that were passed were kind of overreaching. And so this, I believe, fixes the overreach, so that basically the mayor is not required to provide us with advertisements, or to get council approval for advertisements. But we can require that he notify us as soon as practicable, which this ordinance does. And then also that the mayor just recognizes that the mayor has sole authority in contractual relationships with the city, whoever the mayor is, whether we like that mayor or not. That is a state right, and we cannot infringe upon that. So this remediates those past ordinances that the Attorney General said were overreaching. Yes, sir.
So I wasn't part of Harahan government when this was originally passed.
Neither was I.
But you're saying that what was proposed and what was put through then is now not a legal issue, an illegal, pretty much, move that was passed back then. And this reverts that back to its correct
Yes.
position.
This is not how it was written before, but this would fall within line of the law.
So it does not conflict with the Attorney General's opinion?
Correct.
And,
So the
you have
Attorney
put-
General's opinions in here.
This conforms with the opinion of the Attorney General.
Thank you.
Are you saying that Harahan has some ordinance that was written years ago that's...
Not years ago. Well, it was years ago, 2015, during the Maselli administration.
I know.
Yeah, they were trying to rein her in, and they may have
And they made some
overreached.
ordinances that wasn't
They overstepped.
They
Yeah.
may have overstepped.
overstepped, yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that.
Okay. All right.
I mean, Craig proposed this.
Yeah,
You know, I pictured that, believe me, I pictured that.
Yeah.
All right, so we have proposed ordinance 2023-41, proposed by Councilman Asbill.
Sorry, I have just one comment, and it's not with the meat of the ordinance. It's just, I didn't get in the fourth whereas, it refers to the Attorney General's opinion attached as Exhibit A here too. I didn't get a copy with mine. I want to make sure that when you file the formal ordinance, Carrie, if you'd make sure the Exhibit A is attached, since it recalls for it. That's it.
And
And that
You
may
know-
have been my mistake by not pointing it out, but I apologize if I got her in a...
No,
Yeah.
it just,
And one thing that I'd like to add, reverting back to the senior center, one thing that we need to check with legally is if we separate this building, we need to be sure that Marrero Land Company has no problem with that.
We're kind of just closing doors and.
I get it, but I'm just saying, just make sure.
Yes, sir.
That we're not
That's a donation
overstepping.
That's a good question. That's a really good question.
Is that a donation agreement when the city acquired the property? We probably need to get a copy of that. Good point, Mike, and make sure we're conforming.
Well, if we're charging a rent too, we need to be sure that that falls within the lines of the original agreement, because if it doesn't, we could wind up in a big mess.
We'll look into it for sure.
On this ordinance, move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Chatterley to approve proposed ordinance number 2023-41. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Okay, ordinance for introduction, we have none. Old business number 1, Planning and Zoning Board appointment.
If any of y'all have any? If not, Madam Clerk will defer.
New business number 1, Todd
Wait,
Turney.
but do we know how many, I'm just curious, I don't have anybody, but do we know how many openings we have on planning and zoning? Does anybody
I
have a
think at
count?
least 2.
I thought it was 2 or 3, yeah.
Yeah, because Dennis resigned, so if we had 2, we now have 3.
Right.
You're probably, so you're probably
I
right.
think it's 3, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
And speaking of planning and zoning, I would also like to make a comment. I understand that there's grave concern amongst the citizens about a settlement that was agreed to on Sedgefield. I would just like to tell everybody that that was done to curb a legal battle. So I know a lot of people have questions, but at the same time, you know, everybody wanted her going. She moved, she's not to come back, and that was in the best interest of the city government to avoid a lawsuit.
All right, Madam Clerk.
okay, new business number 1, Todd Turney, Finance Director, monthly financials.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Update from the finance team. We are working through the budget amendments from last month's meeting. We received the minutes about a week ago. We've updated our schedules with all the amendments from the December meeting and working on updating the information within the accounting system in code. So we can send you some reports next week on the year-end numbers draft. It would be draft. But we expect we'll be able to send some reports out of Encode next week for the council and the mayor to start taking a look at. So we did receive the sales tax deposit today for the fire department and the city's sales tax. It was in line with expectations, not overly high, not overly low. So it's consistent with our expectations. And we're beginning the process for the financial statement audit. That process will get started over the next few weeks and continue on and off through the end of June when the audit's submitted.
Quick question,
Yes,
if I
sir.
may. On the 2024 budget, will you have that ready next week, you think?
We've got both
Okay.
in draft form. I've looked at them and checked them.
Okay.
So I would expect next week, yes.
And will you send that, you'll send those out as soon as
Yep.
they're, okay.
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
Yep.
And did we get anywhere with what you and I discussed earlier about the additional holiday cost?
Yes. So I have a handout I can share with you
Okay.
after the meeting.
I
yes.
appreciate that.
There's a portion that is cash cost,
Right.
and there's a portion that's really not additional
Just labor.
cash
Right.
for the city hall employees that would get paid irregardless of a holiday.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Address the council.
All right, if anyone would like to address the council, please come up to the podium, state your name and address. Ms. Rhonda, you have as much time as you want.
I saw it.
All right, Rhonda Bagby. First off, when we have people that's working for the city, we, the citizens, are the bosses. We pay their salaries through taxes. We do not need to be disrespected by any of them. I went and I texted all councilmen back in November asking for a meeting. The only two that actually responded was Councilman Ricks and Councilman Chatelain, and I thank you, but as of right now, no meeting has ever taken place, and I still want that meeting because this needs to be addressed. We do not need to be disrespected.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes, sir.
What department was disrespectful? You don't need to name a name, but just...
Well, I'll drop one name. The other ones I'm going to keep until I have the meeting. And the reason I'm dropping this name is because I've spoken to a lot of people that has had problems and issues with this one, and it's Wayne with regulatory.
Okay.
He is never, ever to step foot on my mother's property or mine. If he is, I want him arrested, and if the Harahan PD will not arrest him, I will request JP.
Yes, ma'am.
And one of the
Can I ask you a quick question? That's the regulatory department. That's one of the mayor's departments. Have you requested a meeting with the mayor?
He's aware,
Okay.
and he
So-
was helpful.
But just so you know, the council can't really do anything about the mayor's departments. I mean, we're happy to meet with you, but there's nothing we can do.
I still want the meeting.
Okay.
I still
Well, we
want-
need to be careful with that also because of the sunshine laws. You can't gather 5 councilmen together to talk city business.
Right.
So
Well-
only 2 could meet with you.
And then what
at a
was,
Okay.
time.
Well,
what was the other department? I'm sorry, just,
that I'm going to keep until I meet with someone.
okay.
And one other thing, I did want to recognize, and if you all have any kind of special medals, I think 2 of the men on the Harahan PD needs to get an exceptional medal, and that's Eric Corvetta and Michael Burnett, and 2 on the reserve, and that is Ted, and it's not because he's here, and Darlene Schwartz. They really deserve a medal. They're exceptional, and we're very fortunate to have them. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. And I would like to add, just, from me, I own a business, and I'm going to tell you that I don't know what the circumstances were, but I will definitely have a conversation in regard to that as well, just on a personal note, because that is not something that's acceptable to me as a government official.
Thank you.
Oh, Rhonda, you spoke to me because when you said what you said, I knew who it was. I knew what department it was. So, I mean, you said you never met with me, but you and I spoke about this. I didn't sit, we spoke about Wayne, and we spoke about what, you told me your problem, you told me, so by you saying you only spoke to Ricks and Eric, I mean, with Mike and Eric, I mean, I knew what you would, well, you told me about Wayne and what happened in front of your house, your mama's house and everything, so.
And the other one, there was 3.
Thank you, Ms. Rhonda.
Kayla, you here? You want to talk? Check.
Okay, Madam Clerk. We'll now close the address to council.
Secretary's report. Secretary's report for December 2023, total revenues, $388,064.99. Reports.
Chief Lepre.
Real quick on the department side, I've provided y'all with a complete 23 report of all the statistics for 12 months, so we gave you that. And we'll post that online also. For last month, we had 462 calls for service, 13 accidents, 79 citations, and 15 patrol requests. Citations are down because I've had officers out. I had to reassign my traffic guy that was assigned to traffic back to patrol because we lost another officer for pay. And so he left to go to another agency. So I had to reallocate my traffic guy back into patrol. We've had several officers go out sick, it's going around, so we're working even shorter on those. But overall, things are working. I've been called and asked about the what's going on with the status of the break-ins of the cars. Those are still under investigations, and I could talk to the council, but there's some things right now that we just don't want to talk about out front. We don't want to jeopardize our case. We are moving forward. We have collected some evidence that's leading us to a possible suspect. So we're working on that. I want to remind everybody too, we've taken a couple of calls here lately in the past few weeks on a scam that's going around. We put out on the app this afternoon a notice for people to make sure if you're receiving a call. We've had several calls of residents in Harahan have been called saying that they have a warrant, citations out for their arrest. They need to pay this money. Unfortunately, we've had some folks send the money to these people. The person that's calling is identifying himself as a Jefferson Parish Sheriff's deputy with a badge number and convincing the elderly and older people that they're going to be arrested and picked up. If you get those calls, please contact the Harahan Police Department. Let us know about it so we can come out and document it. Unfortunately, one citizen got suckered in and cost him $1,500. So if you get those type of calls, suspicious, call us. Don't. If somebody calls you and says you have an arrest or a warrant for your arrest, call us. We'll come out and talk to you, and we'll verify that for you. Don't take somebody's word. No police department is going to call you and ask you to send money over a line or what have you.
And they'll be notified by mail. If that's ever the case, they'll be notified by mail.
So if you get that type of call, please call us. And please download the app. We did put out a notice for the scam on our police app. Download Harahan Police Department and get the app. It gives you all kinds of good information. We are getting a lot of patrol requests through the app now. Residents going on vacation, they're going out of town. What you were talking about earlier, if somebody's going to be in the hospital for any length of time, if they send us those requests, address, phone numbers, we can keep an eye on the house to patrol that house to make sure nobody does try to squat or break into the property. We have received the 5 new intercept units. They're here in the back. They've been decaled. We're waiting on the lights and siren and the rest of the equipment to come in. If anybody wants to see them, they're lined up in the back right now. The city of Harahan made out pretty well with the recent cold snap with weather and all. We were very fortunate, but we are expecting another cold snap this weekend, so make sure you take precautions. If the citizens need assistance or something that the Harahan Police Department can help with, please call us. If we can't, maybe maintenance can help, but don't hesitate to call us if you need anything. But we are short. We're working, trying to recruit, trying to bring more folks on. We have 3 applicants that we're working right now. Hopefully those 3 will work out. We do have 1 officer that will graduate from the Police Academy February 22nd, and we have another officer, young officer, starting the academy on January 22nd. He won't be out until sometime in May, end of May. So things are quiet in Harahan where we want them to be, but just be aware of your surroundings. If you get any kind of suspicious calls, please call us and we'll come out and verify. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. I got a question. Speaking of, we had done the auction previously. Are we going to do that auction again soon?
We are. We are.
Okay. Do we have a date?
We don't have a date. We didn't set nothing in stone yet, but we're going to get with the chief on it in the next week or so and try to start getting some of the old vehicles out of
Yeah,
here.
Don't we still have some from the first
We do.
go-around?
We do.
Right. We have probably 5, 6 of them that we could probably auction off now that we got the new ones.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, and one other thing I should have mentioned, we are getting the body cams. We'll be here February 1st, and the The new Taser 10s will be here sometime around April 1st. Then we'll have all the training. Everybody will be trained and certified. We do have a couple of officers that are going to be trained as train the trainer. That way we don't have to send them out.
Right.
We can train our own people in-house.
Awesome.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank
Great
you.
job.
Councilman Asbill?
Just a quick announcement that registration for track and field and soccer is currently going on at the playground for ages 5 through 15 for soccer and 5 through 17, I believe, for track and field. The fields are looking great. We're going to have a great soccer season and a great track season. We usually bring home a couple of championships on the track side. And for the first time in a long time, we're putting together a teenage soccer team to compete with the rest of the parish. So we're excited about that. And then happy Mardi Gras. Just to notice that because of Mardi Gras, our meeting date has moved back 1 week to the 22nd of February rather than the week of Mardi Gras. Nothing else. Thank you.
Councilman Bodie?
Just a couple of things. Well, one, in particular, the Harahan Police Department app, which you can access on a smartphone or a tablet, is pretty useful. It pushes information to you in terms of, for instance, recently they were doing work on Riverside Drive, and we were notified of that. If there's an accident, we're notified of that. So if you don't have the app on your phone or your tablet or your computer, consider downloading it because it might provide you some timely information. It's real easy to use and it's professionally done. And the other thing, again, we ask every meeting, if we're in need of 2 or 3 people to serve on the Planning and Zoning Board. They meet probably on average of 6 or 8 times a year. It's not a monthly thing. It is an important volunteer role. So if you've got some time and you'd like to serve your community, please consider contacting the mayor or one of the councilmen, and so we can put your name in the hat and you can help our community thrive. Thank you.
Councilman Johnson?
Have a happy and safe Mardi Gras.
Councilman? No. All right, Councilman Chatelain? We'll talk about it. I'll talk about it.
Guys, I'm just going to express on a personal matter that happened to me. About 3 weeks ago, I had some stuff stolen off of a job. I know you hear the police chief talk about these cameras, these cameras, these cameras. We had stuff stolen off of a job around midnight on a Monday. We noticed it Tuesday morning around 9 o'clock. We noticed the stuff was missing. Then we dug the cameras from the place of business that the stuff was stolen from. Within 20 minutes, the police department had already tracked down the guy with the wire in the back of the truck driving down the Airline Highway. Within 6 hours, the guy was arrested. 8 hours, the materials were brought back to me to the job. I just want to let y'all know how important these cameras are. So I know people look at us and say, y'all spend a lot of money on cameras and y'all do all of this stuff. The technology today, the criminals will lose. It's just a matter of time. The more cameras we can put on the streets, the better off we are. If you have personal cameras at your house, you can let the police department know if a crime happens. They'll ask for access to your cameras. There's other ways you could access into the flock system to where they could automatically be notified if a stolen car drives past. But it's just amazing the way things happen. I don't know if I could say, I mean, we could talk about the city vehicle that got stolen?
Yeah.
We had a city vehicle got stolen. They tracked it through the cameras, found it in Kenner, tracked it all the way to Mississippi. The guy was wanted for capital murder. He was arrested in Mississippi.
The incident that Councilor Chatelain's talking about, the gentleman was in a stolen vehicle out of Scott County, Mississippi. He ended up going to the end of Dickory, didn't realize the road ended. Well, the car got stuck in the mud. Well, one of the Harahan officers on patrol saw the vehicle on the Dickory side, backside of the power lines. Ran the vehicle, come to find out the vehicle was stolen out of Scott County, Mississippi. Well, around 7:40, 7:23, something like that, my cameras went off at my business. and the guy was hiding in the back of my building. And I called a unit to get out there right away. They ended up checking the area. He was gone, but the camera, we knew who it was. We had a suspect. Well, when we found out the vehicle was stolen out of Scott County, Mississippi, we sent the information, the video, to Scott County, Mississippi. As soon as they saw it, they said, that's the guy we want for murder. He was wanted for capital murder, rape, and arson, and he was in the city of Harahan. So come to find out, next morning we get a call from the maintenance. We have a maintenance vehicle that was stolen. Well, by giving Scott County the information that we had, working with them, the sheriff's office, state police, and other agencies, they were able to arrest the guy in Scott County, Mississippi, in the city of Harahan vehicle. They were able to retrieve the vehicle, the stolen compressor, the other items that were also taken from the maintenance yard. So the camera system that Councilman Chatelain's talking about, it's very useful. It tracked that vehicle all the way through the state, all the way back to Mississippi. So these cameras are just a great asset for law enforcement. I would love to have 10, 15 more of them if I could. It's a great tool because we don't have the personnel to be on every corner. So these cameras can act as our eyes and help lead us to make these arrests. So I didn't want to interrupt you, but that's why
No,
these
I need the
cameras are so
details.
important.
And we need to compliment our officers. I mean, a lot of people say, oh, we have detectives, Harahan, they have office personnel, they're not on the streets. Our officers did their job in a timely manner, got this paperwork out, and communicated with the other officers to take this criminal off the street. So our officers are doing their job, and we're proud to have our officers that we do have, and they're doing an outstanding job. If anybody would like to come work for the Harahan Police Department, we're accepting applications. And thank y'all. Happy Mardi Gras, and look forward to next month.
Councilman Ricks.
So there's been some question in regard to the garbage contract, and I keep fielding calls daily, and I would like, to give our mayor the opportunity to say a couple words on that as well.
Okay. The questions that you've been getting, just so we...
So there was a question as to the extension of the Romelli contract.
Okay.
And that's pretty much where it started.
And so so what happened was doing the Romelli contract, the Romelli contract expired over a year ago. Romelli and I agreed to go on a month-to-month basis at the time. And at that time, it was actually requested by Romelli to put the contract back out for RFP because the rates that he had originally signed up within on the first term were just way too cheap, and he couldn't do it for that cheap much longer. And so what happens was at his request and just doing our due diligence of getting out, looking for a product and giving the opportunity for other people to come in and bid on the product to offer the people the best product that we possibly can for the cheaper price, we put the contract out to bid. Romelli actually bid on it. He didn't win the contract, of course. He was the second in line. Of course, as you guys know, Ivy Waste were the one that won the contract. And pretty much that's it. Everything was done. Every I dotted, every T crossed. I'm proud of the contract that the staff put together here with Councilman Buddy spearheading and helping with that committee. And I honestly think it's the most professional contract that the city of Harahan has ever had in place in the history of its city. And I'm proud of it. And listen, there's no harm, no foul with me, Mr. Romelli. Great guy, great team, great people. But we bid for a reason. And everyone had the opportunity to get a fair bid at a fair price and do a fair job. And they just won, the ones that won the bid. That's all. But great company, great people. We got a new company now. And from what I'm understanding, they're doing a phenomenal job. Other than I'm hearing a couple of times that they maybe picked up a little bit early. It's been addressed, I'm hoping, and because they like to get moving. But if you guys have any questions or any concerns whatsoever, I mean, please reach out to me in my office, and we'll try to run through the whole litany of how everything worked out, because it is all public record. And that's all.
Thank you very much. I just wanted to address the people.
You got it.
And everybody have a happy Mardi Gras, and I hope we cleared up everything tonight.
We are going to get cold this weekend, And so just make sure that you continue to bundle up. We have a great team, guys. We have a great system in place. We have a great police chief. We have a great council and a great staff, and every one of us here are willing to help you at any time, day and night. It does not matter if it's cold or hot. I love living in this city. I hope you love living here too. And our mission is only one, and that's to make your life better. So if there's anything that we can do to make your life better, please pick up that phone and let us know anytime, day and night. Thank you. Happy Mardi Gras, and I hope you guys have a great, safe month, and we'll see you next month.
Okay, pay bills. Bills paid in December 2023, total expenditures $1,030,051.03. No executive session, adjourn.
Motion to adjourn? By Councilman Chatelain, second by Councilman Riggs. All in favor?
Take a ride.